If you have not picked up season credentials, but you know you applied for them, come up to my office afterwards, because you can pick them up there. Paul, I'm looking right at you. Yeah, I'm looking right at you. Anybody else, okay? Thank you. Greg, what do you got?
After looking at tape of Friday's game, kind of where are you at in terms of the lineup heading into Friday? Do you know yet your starting five?
Yeah, unless something weird happens today or tomorrow at practice, I'll start the same five that I did, but it could change, and I don't anticipate any significant changes over the time, because I think that lineup has performed better than anybody else in our practice.
How much I guess, experimenting will you do? I mean, for a while now, because of the depth options you have, mix and match.
We'll experiment quite a bit, but at the same time, we're going to try to win games too. You know, it's important to realize that we've had 2 exhibition games where we're just far more gifted than the teams we're playing, and so I tried to experiment a lot during those times. I don't see us experimenting nearly as much Friday and Sunday.
JP said he thinks that you already trust them a lot more defensively now than you did a year ago with different types of things they can do. How far ahead are they defensively, and do you see yourself changing and running a lot of different schemes?
You know, not a lot, but last year we were pretty much a one-dimensional half-court pressure, man-to-man, and yet full-court press probably got us back in the Davidson game where we won in overtime, but majority of the time we played. You know, and we didn't play the 1-3-1 until late January. You know, so we're farther along with both of those options of full court pressing and playing the 1-3-1. But you know, you play what you're really comfortable with, and I'm not there yet to know what I'm going to be comfortable with, because we're just you know, November 12th is where we are. So we have to wait and see how it does in games too. But I am. And I'll use his word, I am more comfortable with where I think we can be defensively, but we still got to get there.
Is that more of a mental standpoint, or do you feel like you guys are physically more able to be more defensively?
It's a little bit of both. You know, we're nowhere near where we want to be, even with changing defenses. I mean, we call a defense at a free throw the other day, make the free throw, and didn't even get in the defense, and we just said it. You know, you didn't have to read a quarterback's hand signal or anything. We just got together and said, kumbaya, let's play the defense, and made the free throw and forget to play the defense. You know, so that's part of it right there. And then there, you know, we're not maybe as quick as we have been with the, you know, when I had Ty Lawson, Bobby Frazier, and those guys that I could put in there, but yet we're longer maybe than we've ever been. And I think that length helps you a lot too.
Also, to follow up on that, I mean, between JP and Theo, the size you can put on the perimeter defensively, I mean, how much, I was going to ask if you could think of a time when you've had.
Probably not that much, you know, because JP 6'6", 6'7", Justin 6'7", 6'8", Theo 6'6", 6'7", playing 2-3 men like that. I really don't think we've had that. You remember, Steve? And you guys, I mean, you may remember too, but I don't think we've had that. We've had big teams, you know. Kansas one year had 3 guys that were 7 feet that could play, you know, that kind of thing. But this is probably the most size lengthwise that we've got on the perimeter.
Does that give you more confidence, I guess, in your ability to maybe frustrate opposing guards?
No, because I'd go the other direction. I think the little beepers frustrate people, but I think the length does bother some shots more. You know, I think we had, again, a couple of guys like Ty Lawson in the game, that really frustrates people, but, you know, a guy can drive, and JP or Theo or Justin maybe ever block the shot even though they were beat.
As far as chemistry goes, are you surprised at how quickly the freshmen seem to have jumped in with everyone?
Not really, because they're that kind of kid. I mean, each one of them individually, I guess I should say, they're those kinds of kids. But I think individually, they want to be part of the team. They want to get involved. They want to be part of something. None of the 3 is a guy that is really always just looking for his own play and looking for his shot. they committed to us for a long time, so their entire senior year in high school, when they came around for their official visit or unofficial visit or late night or whatever, they were already, the teammates were putting their arms around them. And so this is their first year playing, but it seems like they've been here quite a while kind of thing.
Where would you say the overall team chemistry ranks in teams that you coached?
I think it's, you mean this team specific? I don't know, same answer I guess, November 12th, it's hard. I don't think you ever know about your team chemistry until you face adversity. And that really tells you a lot. I don't think you ever know about your team chemistry until somebody gets disappointed by the number of minutes and how everybody else helps them. And right now, they love each other, but it's all popcorn and ice cream right now.
What is it about Justin's efficiency offensively? Why is he able to be so efficient, you know?
You know, I think some guys are born with that. He has tremendous savvy, and I think that's part of it. I think he understands how the game is supposed to be played and how he sees it evolve. I think he sees the big picture, and so that's something that he's continually worked on. But he has that knack, and I don't know that I've ever been able to coach that knack. You know, I just had some guys that it happens to, but maybe him, maybe more so than anybody I've had in a long time, or maybe even ever, and I hope it lasts a long time too.
Roy, speaking a little more generally about freshmen, it seems that nationally there's more and more fascination with freshmen as preseason players of the year, and that they define teams. And yet, if you look at like the ACC All-Conference teams, not many freshmen make the team. So are we exaggerating the importance of freshmen in general, or is it not specific to the teams and their team's needs?
Yeah, I think, you know, there is a fascination with that. You know, the freshmen on the cover of magazines, and, you know, Doug McDermott was probably the best player in the country. Not saying he has the highest potential, the highest upside or anything, but I think the experience is extremely important. But I'd still love to have those kind of guys, because talent does win out a lot of times too. I've always said at the Final Four, you have immense talent, or you have guys who've been around a long time. You know, seniors or been around a long time, juniors or something like that. But there is a fascination with freshmen, and you know, most of the freshmen nowadays are so much more worldly. Their game is much more evolved, I guess I should say. They've done more things, been more places. They're not in awe. They don't walk out the first night and start looking around and say, oh my gosh. They walk out and say, heck, everybody here's looking at me. You know, that's their attitude kind of thing. And so they're able to do much more than they did many, many years ago. I remember when Brad Daugherty, heck, he was 4 days after we started practice his first year, he turned 17. He started practice as a 16-year-old. And now you don't see that hardly ever. But Brad, I think Brad, I'm right, his birthday was October 19th, and so he did. He started practice October 15th as a 16-year-old. And so I think it is so much different. I'll go back to that word. I just think they're worldly, you could say more experienced in different situations. But there is a huge fascination with them. There's no question about that, which, we had a guy named Hansbrough. I thought he deserved it, so it's all right. Yes.
At ACC Media Day, these are Bryce's words. He said he wants to be that bully on the floor, the enforcer. Would you see that? Did you see that? Answer the question.
I don't think that was the reaction Bryce was hoping for.
Right. That answers my question. You're laughing though. Do you see him as that role, or somebody else?
This press conference is already deteriorating. It's the quickest I've ever seen it. Bryce is getting better, and I hope he's, I'm losing you guys. So I hope he's talking about that he can block shots and rebounds, because if it's a fight, I'm going to look for somebody bigger, to get behind, I went on the court one night to the USA basketball thing. The guy from the other team picked up the ball rack and started towards me. I would not have been looking for Bryce for help at that moment, I can tell you. But he is getting better. He's getting, what did he have? One of the exhibition games, 13 rebounds in 16 minutes or something like that. But, I'd like to be known as the enforcer also. I've been waiting for that for 64 years. It hasn't gotten me yet either.
You've talked a lot about how this team's been unselfish so far. Do you foresee that maybe being an issue with guys trying to do too much or not doing enough?
No, I think when guys do too much, it's because they are selfish, you know, so I don't see that. I do think, as I had to say twice the other day, probably you're 4 feet away, shoot the ball. You don't have to get 3 feet and 11 inches, you know, if you're 4 feet, it's okay. But I like that. I think it's harder to get guys to be that way than it is to go the other direction. And so I think for me, it's a good problem to have, and that's even better way. It's not a problem. I mean, they're unselfish, but so far I haven't seen them unselfish to a fault. And sometimes you do see that, and that may be what you're talking about, but so far I haven't seen that.
Do you like the earlier start on the calendar to practice? And have you been able to get more done before the season starts with
You know, I
that?
think you can get a little more done, but I really try to go slower, and spread it out, because the season is really long anyway. And so now when you move practice up to October 3rd, or last year, September 27th, I mean, it's really a long year. And, we have the 30, I think it's 30 practices within 40 days or something like that. And so we do, so they get a few more breaks. Definitely, I mean, I can't tell you what year is probably 93. I mean, I was coaching when practice started November 1st. We only did it 1 year. We started practice November 1st, and we were to preseason in IT. First game was November 16th. Now, that was the other end. That was way too few days. But it's spread out now, and in some ways it's good that you can spread it out. It's not such a traumatic effect to their bodies. But I do think you have more time now. You can put more things in and do a better job of it. I just choose to go a lot slower and still have some things for December, January, and February that'll excite them a little bit.
Coach, you got Central coming in here on Friday night. We do have a game to play, so they've lost a lot of people, but what kind of characteristics do you see that with a Lavelle Moulton team coming in here on Friday?
I want to see what kind of suit Lavelle's wearing first. That's the first thing I want to see. But, they had a great run last year, played Iowa State, a great game in the tournament, could have won it at the end. I think there is 3 players back from that team, so he's got a lot of new faces. Those guys are going to be hungry. They've listened and heard about North Carolina for a long, long time. I've got the tape on the computer, or should I call it a disc on the computer? Is that a better terminology? That I'll be watching some tonight and some tomorrow from one of their exhibition games. But right now, I just know they'll play unselfishly, and they'll play extremely hard because it's Lavelle's team.
How deep do you envision rotation-wise? I mean, when you have, I know it depends sometimes on how much talent you have, but with your perimeter depth, what would be an ideal?
I've always thought it was really easy to play 9 guys. I mean, I really have. Once you get past that, I have to work at it a little bit to give them enough minutes to make them feel comfortable. Or don't know that you ever give enough minutes to make them 100% happy, but they understand it through 9. And, so, right now, I couldn't pick the 9 that I would want that to be.
Is this going to be easier or tougher for Marcus now that he has this status, I guess, now that maybe a year ago in your mind he had, but maybe not for everyone else?
That's a good question. He has a tremendous amount of pride. I think he likes where he is right now. He channeled that energy, which could be called pride, to show people last year too, because I do believe that. I kept saying his freshman year to press conferences how good I thought he was going to be, but he could be one of those guys, and I hope so, that the more you make, the more you make. On the golf course, you make the first one, you have a lot better chance to make the second one, and he's done a tremendous job of preparation. He thinks the game, he looks at it from a coach's standpoint, he looks at it at the big picture, and so I think the experience only helps that, so that part get even better. He's probably 6 to 8 pounds heavier this year, bigger. So I think that would help him. But I sort of think he likes the position that he's in right now. That I would. I'd say, I did this last year. I can do it again. I can do it better. That's what I would like. But I'm a little wacko too. That'd be a good question to ask him. I'd be interested in the answer.
Coach, Lavelle Moulton said that it's tough for him to get games these days. But he said, Roy Williams isn't scared to play anybody. Do you see the Central game as taking a little bit of a gamble for your program?
Some people look at it, particularly the first game, particularly as successful as they were last year. Now, they did lose a lot of guys. But I like to play people, and I like to play good people, and LaVelle's one of the truly good guys. So to me, it's a pretty easy deal. And, you know, we try to find games too. But you know, you need to find out about your club. And the first 3 games, do we have 3 before we go to, 3 before we go to Nassau, I think can tell us a heck of a lot about our team. I don't think we'll be shocked when we get to Nassau. A couple of years ago, we got into Maui and I thought we were hit the face right between the eyes, and it shocked us a little bit. I don't think we'll have that as much this year as we did that year.
And you would say that a central team can push you certainly a little bit more than the exhibition team.
Oh, yeah, no question. And it's not anything against those schools. We're just far more gifted than those guys were. And but LaVelle, the motivational tactics that he'll use, he'll have them fired up coming in here to play North Carolina. And he's good. I mean, he's good at what he does.
A little off topic, you've seen some more kids that have gone overseas to play rather than come to college. How do you think that's going to become more and more common? Is it just going to be a case-by-case thing? What's your take?
You know, when you say that, I'm trying to remember. I guess I can bring up 3 guys. Brandon Jennings, they've worked. Tyler, Jeremy Tyler something.
Jeremy Tyler. Kid from San Diego?
Jeremy Tyler.
Jeremy Tyler, okay. I'd say it didn't work quite as well with him if I can't remember his dad. And the kid from Texas right now that signed at SMU, I think we'll know more, but is there any more than those? Those are the 3 that, so I'd say the pool it's an awfully small sample right now. It wouldn't pass the test and measurements course. It'd be a very valid test with only 3 subjects, but you know, some kids are going to want to do that, but I think it'd be the unusual thing. I mean, college is a lot of fun. I mean, there's some great things going on in college life, and so I still think most kids are going to want to go that direction.
Do you envision, though, a time when you're battling with pro leagues overseas to try to persuade a kid?
No, I don't envision that at all.
The first time LaVelle coached here, you said you took him out for a steak dinner. Do you plan on treating again this weekend?
If I did, I guarantee you he would not pay. You know, so I got to watch that part of it. There's just so many things going on this weekend. You know, we won't do that. I had a chance to visit with him the other night. He's come over here and brought his club over here and practiced a couple of times already, and I think they'll do it again tomorrow.
This may be also a little off topic, but Theo's, I think, maybe the 3rd or 4th guy you recruited from the Greensboro area. I'm curious, this may be more of a football thing, but when you recruit guys from a certain area, can you build a perception of them, or do you have to take it individually, or how does that work?
I always take all of it individually. You know, if you recruit a kid from one area, you know more people there. You know their biases, you know their favorites and their unfavorites, and things like that. But every one of the situations for us were 3 very different situations for us. And you know, I used to recruit the Dickens out of California when I was at Kansas because I just got to know so many people, and those kids that came from California really were very successful, so that helped us too.
Well, what's kind of the line with having an exhibition game and deciding you want to take that away and just do a scrimmage with another school?
You know, it's difficult. I still don't know what's best. I don't even know what I like best. You know, for a long time we played 2 exhibitions, and then we played 1 exhibition and 1 closed scrimmage. I talked to 2 different people about scrimmaging this year, and it was going to be difficult for them to do it because of some promises they had made, and then, as I said, we had 15 home games. And we didn't make a lot of money those exhibition games, but I think we made enough money to turn the lights on. So perhaps it would be a couple of dollars that would help our budget. And with 3 freshmen being in prominent roles, I think getting them in front of a crowd sometimes helps them get rid of the nervousness of the first game in front of a crowd.
All right, we'll get JP in here. Thank you.
Thank you.